ahead and get started. And if you didn't, just, quick announcement, if you did not sign in, we do need a record of everybody that's here tonight. The sign-in sheet is right there by the door. If you could just leave your sign in for us before you leave, that would be much appreciated. So my name is Ashley Honeycutt-Terrazas with Harper Poe. I'm a land use attorney working with D.R. Horton, developer for this site that we're here to talk about tonight, for this plan unit development rezoning. Also with me tonight, Reese Bridges and Oakley back there from D.R. Horton. Cameron Jones, who was here with us last time, caught the last flight to Phoenix tonight, so he could not make it. Caroline Cheeves from Rainy Kemp is here as well. She's our traffic engineer. And then we also have Brian Richards, Lexi Chakalos from from Urban Design Partners, assisting with the master plan design. And then Kevin Lewis from the town was supposed to be here, but he is not here yet. So if he comes in, we will wave to Kevin. So really quickly, before Reese is going to give a quick introduction to D.R. Horton, the project and the vision. But before we get to that, I just want to make sure everybody knows the purpose of the meeting tonight is to update neighbors. Since the first meeting we held before we filed the case last November, by show of hands, who was here for that meeting? Okay, almost everybody. So this meeting that we're having here tonight is not required by the town. We wanted to provide folks with another opportunity to engage with us, get information, ask questions, and hear updates about the project. So before I kind of go over this introductory information about the zoning, rezoning process, and then the updates, I'm gonna let Reese from D.R. Horton give a quick introduction to D.R. Horton and the vision for the project.
Absolutely, I just want to say welcome everybody. I recognize a lot of familiar faces from the last meeting, but it's good to have y'all back out. And Ashley mentioned this is our second neighborhood meeting. It's an optional meeting, not required by the town, but we're excited to be here. I mean, if you take it back, I believe it was like November 4th. At that point, we kept talking about the TIA a lot. The recommendations weren't finalized, but we've got NCDOT recommendations now, and Knightdale's finalizing their recommendations. Certainly want to meet with y'all, talk through the traffic improvements. I know everybody here is passionate about Linden Oaks, one way or the other. There's some people passionate about the traffic. We're passionate that we're helping solve some of these problems. I mean, we're from here as well. Last time I was in this gym, I was running sprints. And I can promise you this meeting's gonna go a lot better than that practice did. So, it's gonna be fine. But to that point, we put a lot of time in this project, put a lot of analysis into it. We're excited about the Old Face and Bethlehem intersection. We drive through there every week, every day. And this project will bring signal upgrades to that. The town's pushing for a roundabout there, but we're still working through that. But then I guess what I ask is we appreciate y'all coming out. We're trying a little bit something different where we're gonna sit here trying to keep it one question at a time, just keep things a little bit more organized. If y'all can ask the questions to Ashley and she'll call on the team member that knows the most about that question. But just want to thank y'all for coming out. We're excited about this project.
Yeah, so we've got a good team here tonight. I'm going to go over again some of the introductory information about zoning and the rezoning process that's I think going to be review for a lot of the folks here, but not everybody was here last time. And then I'll briefly go over the specifics for the project. And then Caroline, our traffic engineer, is going to provide an update, like Reese said, about the traffic study and the transportation improvements. We didn't have that information last time. We have it now. We've done the analysis, submitted it. DOT has approved it, so we've got a lot of updates there. And if you could just hold questions and comments to the end, that'll help us get through everything. So again, this is the master plan. Most municipalities have their own zoning code, zoning map. The code defines various zoning districts and regulations in each district. Zoning map places property into the zoning districts, and the zoning districts regulate which types of uses are allowed on that property, but also type, size, height, structures, require buffers, screening between uses, etc. So if a property owner wishes to change the zoning designation, then the applicant must go through a rezoning process, and it's a long process. We've actually been working on it with the town for a while now. This team has been working with the town since December of 2022 on this project and this proposal. So we met with town staff, submitted a sketch plan, went through several rounds of staff review, comments, staff feedback, and also got feedback from the town council. Then before we could file the rezoning, we had to hold a neighborhood meeting to inform neighbors about the proposal and answer questions. Did that back in November. And then before filing, we also had to conduct a traffic impact analysis, looking at the project's anticipated impact on nearby intersections. Then we formally filed an application for a planned unit development rezoning, and I'm gonna expand on that just a second. Our application went through more technical review by the town's development review committee staff. We just made our third submittal last week, so again, we've been through several rounds of this with the technical review staff. And then the TIA, during this time period was also reviewed and approved by NCDOT. So then the next step, this is a voluntary step, we're not required to do this, like I said, but then the next step is for our case to go to a formal public hearing before the town council and the land use review board. You'll be notified of that hearing date if you got a notice letter for this meeting, same notice area. Then we'll go to the land use review board the next month. They discuss the case, make a recommendation on it to town council, and the earliest we go to town council for a decision would be the next month, and the earliest that could be at this point would be June. So again, filed the case, gone through several rounds of review with the town staff and NCDOT. Before we start the public hearing process, wanted to organize another neighborhood meeting to update the neighbors. And I also, because I know this came up last time, just want to talk about, like, this is just the beginning of the process. I mean, I know folks were asking last time, when would a house actually be built? When would people be living here? I mean, we are several years out from that. So even if, this were to be approved in June, let us say, we got more detailed review that we have to go through with the town staff, with Wake County, several other review agencies, permitting. It's gonna take, and I know Reese can answer the question better than I can, but I think it was 2026 at the earliest, right, that a house would be, here and somebody could be living in it. And obviously with a project, with a neighborhood like this, it would be phased, it wouldn't all come at one time. I think we've got, how many phases now? 4 phases, right? So it's phased over time, it's not everybody, coming at once. So again, back to rezoning, when you're looking at a rezoning request, to make sure land uses in the town are organized, town has adopted a comprehensive plan, 2035 comprehensive plan, which includes a couple of future land use maps and several planning policies that recommend how the town should be developed. And so when the town staff and the land use review board and the town council are reviewing the rezoning application, they're gonna look and see whether the request is consistent with the future land use map and planning policies. So this site, right here, I think it's an assemblage of seven properties. On the growth and conservation map, it's designated as a mixed density neighborhood. These are areas that are communities with a mix of housing types and densities, incorporating a comprehensive network of open space throughout to accommodate small parks, gathering places, community gardens, preserve tree stands, and help reduce stormwater runoff. On the growth framework map, this is designated as a target investment area, which are areas that the town has designated for growth, where there's access to water and sewer. And so then our intent for this project is a master plan community with a variety of beautiful single-family homes, quality homes, detached homes, duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, open space and amenities that are gonna include a pool and a clubhouse, pollinator garden, pickleball courts, walking trails, hammock park, pocket parks, design that takes advantage of the natural features, the streams and the ponds on site. So again, as well as 17 acres of conserved natural habitat. And then we're also planning a small commercial, neighborhood serving commercial portion right there next to the main pool and clubhouse amenity on Bethlehem Rd. So that's, and again, this is consistent with the type of neighborhoods that the town new neighborhoods that the town encourages in the comprehensive plan. And we're proposing to design the neighborhood as a PUD, planned unit development. It's an overlay zoning designation that will require that the development be subject to stricter standards and a detailed master plan, which is right there. It's a thick, very, very detailed plan set, and allows more flexibility in the underlying zoning district. So the base zoning district we filed with was residential mixed use, which allows the residential uses in the master plan, and this is, the density is about a little less than 3 units an acre. When you're talking about the gross acreage, the gross acreage of the site. And then it's gonna allow also the small scale commercial uses on that commercial out parcel. So the important thing to note though is that the development would have to be consistent. You know, when we get to that next stage and we're doing the detailed drawings and all that, it has to be consistent with this master plan because of that PUD, planned unit development overlay. And the master plan shows many different housing types, price points at less than 3 units an acre based on gross acreage, and then commercial space, which is gonna become an out parcel, will be limited to around 15,000 square feet there on Bethlehem Road. So those are the plans in a nutshell. Been working with town staff and council for the past several months on things like adding additional trails and amenities, architectural features for the homes, architectural commitments in that PUD document, making sure the neighborhood's pedestrian and cyclist friendly. You know, the town staff is obviously, and council are very interested in the street cross sections, multi-use trails, making sidewalks, you know, how are cyclists and pedestrians gonna get around. Those are the things that we've been working on with them. And we can certainly answer questions about that if anybody has them when we get to Q&A. But again, like Bree said, I know the biggest outstanding question from last time is about traffic in the area and the traffic impact analysis and the findings and the recommended improvements, transportation improvements that will be coming with this project. And so I will hand it over to Caroline to talk through that.
Hello everyone. Do apologize, my allergies, I'm gonna have a dry throat, so I'll be sipping on my water. I am Caroline Sheaves. I'm with Ramey Kemp / DRMP, and we prepared the traffic impact analysis for this study. Last neighborhood meeting, we were just at that scoping process, so we had met with the town and the NCDOT, and we had our idea of our scope, but we hadn't had a chance to prepare the analysis yet. Since then, as Reese and Ashley have mentioned, we have submitted our TIA and it has been reviewed and approved by NCDOT, and the town has also reviewed it. They typically lag behind a little bit in their formal comments. So first I want to just sort of explain what the TIA process is for anyone who's unaware, or needs a little refresher from when I explained it last in the fall. So TIA, traffic impact analysis, anytime there's a new development, what we have to do is we have to determine what the impact the traffic is going to have on the surrounding roadway network. So our first step is to meet with the NCDOT and the town and determine what our study area is going to be. And this map here shows what our study area is. So that big site plan is small here, and all of these yellow dots are the intersections that we studied. So we went all the way down to Pool Road. You know, we studied the 87 ramps, and then all of these intersections closer to the site. And the purpose of the TIA is determine what types of impacts that we're gonna have on each of these intersections. So the first step is to establish a baseline. And so that means that we'll collect existing traffic counts. So we conducted those counts in 2023, and we grew those up to our build year of 2032, 3% growth rate. So just imagine your bank account with a 3% interest rate, or growth rate there, compounded every year. So that accounts for all of that background traffic that's gonna happen. And then there are 2 additional developments, kind of similar to this, where they had to conduct a TIA, and we included their traffic into our development as well. So that is what we call our no build condition, where we have all of the future growth without us, and then so that's no build, so the future without us. And then our build conditions is our site traffic that we then generate. We use a manual called the trip generation manual, and we generate how much traffic this development is expected to generate. And then we, again, in coordination with the town and the NCDOT, we distribute that to the roadway network. We get their input on where they think these people are gonna go. It's an educated guess, and then we analyze our build conditions. And then our build conditions, we have to mitigate there. So we follow strict guidelines from both the town and the NCDOT, and we have to show mitigation for any impacts that we will have. And also, Very often, anytime that there's an existing issue, we'll also have to mitigate because we can't make it worse. And if there's an existing issue where an intersection is not operating well, we'll have to improve it. So I know you're all curious about what type of improvements we can uplift. That's the TIA process. So the main intersection that we're all waiting for, Old Phasian and Bethlehem Rd. If you were here at the last meeting, you heard us say that the town wanted us to consider a roundabout there, and we got a lot of pushback on that. And we also, when we did our analysis, we looked at it with a signal and turn lanes, and we found that that's going to operate better in the long term than a roundabout would. So we had to analyze it both ways, and our recommendation is that traffic signal with turn lanes. And in DOT's review, they agreed with us that the traffic signal. Now the town, again, I think they still want that roundabout, but we have DOT on our side. We want to put the signal in along with the turn lanes. So that's the big intersection that I know was a hot topic last time. So that's what we're installing there. The other improvements that we're doing at our site driveway of Crosscut Place, that one is required to be a roundabout with the town. We were showing that that's going to operate well. We understand that there's some safety concerns at that current intersection, and a roundabout is truly the safest intersection that we can install. So that should help slow vehicles down and help with any safety concerns there. At Hodge Road, the 87 ramps, Old Phasian, Hodge Road, there is an NCDOT project that is installing some turn lanes there, but in addition to that, we are recommending that this project extend some of the storage lengths there. So we are also touching that intersection with improvements. Down at Pool Road, this intersection doesn't operate very well. As I'm sure many of you have driven through it. We're showing that that intersection does not operate well. And this development, you can see how far away this intersection is from this development. Overall, we don't have a huge percentage impact there, but because that intersection is operating poorly in existing conditions, we are providing mitigation there as well via turn lanes. And we are showing that that is going to improve it. And then at our site driveway up on Old Phasian Road, we are showing turn lanes there as well. So overall, with our mitigations, we are showing that all the study intersections are expected to operate acceptably. They are not all operating acceptably in existing conditions, so we are improving them. And
we heard that. We heard that loud and clear.
Yes.
The intersections are not operating well
Yes.
today. The study bore that out, and so now we are talking about improving them, and it's going to make, with these improvements, they are going to operate better with the new neighborhood included in that, operate better than they
for example, Old Phasian and Bethlehem, under existing conditions, you could wait there for 300 seconds. That's what our analysis is showing. 300 seconds is an average delay when you're at that minor street approach. But with our improvements, with that traffic signal there, the average delay will be 30 seconds. So we're reducing that significantly in terms of your wait time at that intersection.
Yeah.
So is that gonna require a widening of the road for Bethlehem? I mean, to put a turn lane, you know, if you got, right now it's just 2 lanes, so.
Yes,
So it's gonna widen.
So we don't have the exact design plans for all of the turn lanes. However, a typical NCDOT right-of-way allows for at least 1 lane, and one additional lane. So, you know, typical NCDOT right-of-way is about 60 feet wide, and lanes are typically 12 feet wide. So when you account for drainage and everything, you can normally fit in at least 1 lane.
These roundabouts you're talking about, y'all want this thing with just safe for cars, but when tractor and trailer comes through here bringing in equipment, this one right down here, you come around well with a tractor and trailer, the trailer's gonna be all over top of that roundabout. You can say what you want to, I've driven them for 25 years. Those more trailers come in there, they're gonna get hung up on them, you're gonna have more problems than you take and stick at.
So the aprons in the middle of the roundabouts are designed for tractor trailers to go over
This
top of
one
them.
down here is not big enough for a tractor trailer coming up, you're not getting all over top of that roundabout, you say what you're gonna do.
This is something that the town is,
Yeah.
It's gonna be all over the top.
requesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
think
hear
what
that.
just to clarify what you said, is that they're designed to be able to be driven,
Yeah.
like, they're designed for tractors to go
Another
over.
one coming in here with heavy equipment, he was 4 inches off the ground.
Yeah, they're mountable curbs, they're mountable curbs that'll be,
He gonna get hung up. I've seen him do it.
okay, well, I mean, I don't know which one you're talking
yeah,
about, so.
I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with that roundabout, but,
There are new designs for that they're designed to be, I mean, it's for tractor trailers to drive over.
And then I don't think the county could be, responsible for that to fix it, because it's gonna be DOT. So there ain't gonna be enough room for them to make the turn and come around. That's something else you need to look at.
I mean, I see what he's saying, I know what you're saying. So, you know, a low boy is only 4 or 6 inches worth of clearance, and it's spread out over
Some of them
40 feet.
60 foot long, some of them longer than that.
Yep.
And we're,
So when you crest, if you drive straight over it, you know, you've got a mountable curb, but it comes up to allow for stormwater drainage, is when it's over the center of that communist roundabout, they get hung up on it and then they stuck. But, you know, roundabouts are kinda like communism, it works great on paper, but in reality, people starve to death and get shot.
we're pushing for the signal too.
Yeah.
So
Just to be clear, we are pushing for the signal. The town really wants a roundabout.
Everybody here tonight's on team signal for that
Yeah.
intersection. I mean, and frankly, the stop sign's not working.
Well, and you've got it recorded, so, you know, you can go to the
That's
town
right.
with this and say, you know,
Yeah, but, yeah.
That is our hope, yeah.
And not only that, it's in the report. I mean, we're
Yeah,
pushing
I
for
know, we have an analysis to
Yeah.
say like it's gonna
you
work.
know, Knightdale needs to rethink their
Yeah.
roundabout versus signal.
They should
Go.
also give for another analysis.
So according to the Department of Transportation, right now, Bethlehem and Old Faison have a grade of F, right?
Yep.
So, are you saying that you think these minor traffic improvements are gonna bring that grade up, or, and that is, it's gonna come up to what?
am I allowed to say?
Yeah.
Okay. A level service C,
A C.
yes.
So again, that's.
So it's at an F,
F.
F currently.
It is failing
Yeah.
today, and warrants improvements today. And
So the additional 1,500 cars from the development are gonna bring it up to a C.
Yes, yes, cause we're also putting improvements
But,
there.
and not just this development, she's also projecting growth and the other developments that are planned in the area.
Yeah,
It's all
so
taken into account.
it'll continue to operate at a C, so the town of Knightdale requires us to look, 10 years past our build out, so we're talking 2041, we're still projecting this, you know, again, at that growth rate that I mentioned earlier, we're still projecting this to operate at a level service C with these improvements.
I wanna add too that like, there's no other plan to improve this intersection. Right now, this intersection's at an F. The town is not in the budget for the town to come improve this. I mean, what's the plan B?
And what intersection are you talking about?
The same
That's what I'm
intersection.
in Old Faison.
Yeah, the same intersection.
But adding 1,000 cars is gonna
That's like
bring
half
it,
phase on
Old
those.
Faison and Bethlehem.
drop it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Our subdivision is just so close that the cars will be stopped at the stoplight and we can't get out, and then they'll go, and then there's this long line, and then they'll turn red again, and they'll stop, and we're still trying to get out of our subdivision. The Meadows is it's like one house between Old Faison and my street, which is called Meadow Circle. So we go there, we sit, and you got the traffic going like this, of course, but if it's stopped, like in the mornings, you can't get out there because there's never a break in the traffic. And if they stop at a stoplight and then they back up, you know, 20 cars, and it turns green, those 20 cars go, and then it turns red again, everybody stops, and we're still sitting, because we can't get out.
Yeah, so, the good thing about this intersection is it's a T intersection, and so a 3-leg signal operates incredibly well, very efficient. So you're able to have, with a 3-legged intersection, I'm gonna get a little nerdy on you, you can have a shorter cycle length, which means that, you'll still have that stop and go, but it won't be backing up 20 vehicles. And a level of service C means that you won't see any of that cycle failure, where, you know, the end of the queue doesn't actually clear. I'm sure you've all driven in an intersection like that where you stopped at the red light and then, you know, 10 cars go in front of you and you can't, you don't go by the time by the time it turns green, that's what we call cycle failure. A level of service C intersection isn't gonna operate with cycle failure, so you'll see that big gap. You'll be able to get out. You might have to
I'm
wait
just afraid
until
I'll
it
have to
clears.
turn and go the other direction, you know, turn right and go all around, who knows where, just to get back to where I went around about.
How do y'all get out now? Cause it's backing up now, isn't it?
I know, we sit
That's what we're
there
talking
and
about.
sit there and sit there and hope we get to work on time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying, to add more traffic is
So yeah, you
what's scary
should,
to us.
based on my analysis, you should sit there for an average of 30 seconds. That queue will clear, and then you'll be able to go.
Well,
Oh yeah,
let's do it.
if it is backing up in front of your driveway, we're showing an average of 30 seconds.
And
of
I think
delay
one thing
there,
to add
so.
to what Caroline does is, like, all of the existing additions are real world data. Like, they do counts and everything, it's not like projections, right? Now, the future growth, obviously, there has to be some kind of projection. The impacts of this is based on studies of actual developments and how much traffic they produce. But she's saying that existing today, it's an F, so her study confirmed what everybody here feels. And she's saying now it will be a C based on this, so I mean, it's going to improve, whether we want to agree it's a C or a B or a D or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, it's gonna improve. And that's not in DOT's plans or anybody else's plans to do that anytime in the foreseeable future.
And it's not just this subdivision that y'all are doing, but I mean, it's like everywhere we look, that's what we're seeing is all these subdivisions, and we're wondering, where are all those people gonna go on our little tiny country roads that we've got that, you know, weave in and out of Knightdale?
That's why, yeah. So we're glad to say that we're coming here with some more improvements, some more, I mean, it will involve widening, right, like where the turn lanes are, and not just at Old Faison and Bethlehem, but the other turn lanes as well.
Turn lane on Old Faison, Old Bethlehem, they both ways coming in on Bethlehem, and Old Faison, you need a turn lane right there, and one on Old Faison going back towards the Pool Road, you need a turn lane.
Yep, we are showing a turn lane on every single approach of Old Faison
Well, I
and
say that on Old
Bethlehem.
Faison, it's a nightmare, you don't get out before 6 o'clock in the morning.
So
I have a question. You said your build date was 2032. Does that mean that's when the improvements are finished?
Not typically. DOT typically wants the improvements installed before the final build, whether it's with that first phase or, within,
So the improvements come
Complete by the final.
yes.
Oh,
yes.
for
The
sure,
improve-
probably sooner, but for sure
Yeah.
by the final phase.
Yes.
So y'all could put half those cars on the road as it is right today?
No. So the way that our study is done right now is just looking at the full build. What we typically do, in situations like this, you know, we still need to get through the rezoning process. We don't wanna spend all the time doing the design and everything like that, you know, the very detailed design with drainage and everything. So typically, once we get through the rezoning process, then we'll start like taking a closer look at those phase lines. And DOT will likely have us submit a phasing analysis and showing them, again, just like I talked about, where we have very strict guidelines to follow. But then we'll take a look at, okay, at what point do we impact this intersection that we need to put this improvement in? But our ultimate improvements will remain the same, it'll just be determined when we install them. So for example, you know, we might only install one of the site accesses at first, and so it wouldn't make sense to put the turn lanes at the other site access until we construct that one.
The same way last meeting, like, we're transparent with this, I mean, the same way last meeting, we didn't know these recommendations, is the same way with the phasing. We're just not that far along in the process yet. I mean, we haven't even been in front of council yet. We just don't know the phasing yet because we're not that far along in the design.
I've been living in Knightdale about 42 years, Knightdale's roads, but the roads and stuff, everything else, buildings going up, but the roads and conditions, the people staying here all their life ain't changed now bit.
We're,
It's getting worse.
we're here for that too. I mean, I know there's been a lot of neighborhoods that come in that have been built without the improvements, and being one of the developments on the back end of that, we're here to make those improvements. Knightdale, it's not on their budget plan to do these improvements.
Don't be trying to buy that land here, since I've been here, cause I had a deadlock, when I bought my property, when I was deadlocked, cause you couldn't go down the street that I stayed in. Until he had taught to give you all the other evening. That's the only other way you can get in, but him, man, that's where you get the Wilson farm, where you get to the bridge up there. But You always go to go down Old Basin, I had to get it up the day I bought it. You know, it's a private street, 8 houses, you will never be no more.
Yes, sir.
And it's kinda right behind me.
Are there any other questions?
Traffic study?
Yeah, traffic study or the project in general. Again, that, like I said, we've been working on some stuff, you know, like the town wants it to be a really nice neighborhood with lots of different, you know, product types and price points and things of that nature. Definitely up the amenities, and we've added a bunch of architectural conditions and things like that that the town council is expecting to see, so, and trails, public greenway trail, you know, all the way down that, western spine of the site, so that's gonna be public access, anybody could get on there and, you know, bike through or walk their dog or whatever. And, yeah, I'm
No,
sorry.
I actually, it's not for the traffic. I have questions actually for Reese if we're moving on from traffic.
Yeah, or if we have questions about traffic or we have questions about the project, you know, we're here, that's why we're here tonight.
Okay.
I got a question for you, I just where is water and sewer coming from?
From, you
So,
wanna answer
can
that
I
one?
answer that after Karen's question? Or so I can,
Go
you
ahead,
okay?
answer your question.
Yeah, so, same thing with the phasing. We're working with City of Raleigh on this. I mean, with all these projects, City of Raleigh is involved in the review process. We're gonna have to maintain fire flow out here and the pressure requirements for any new development. It's not been finalized yet on where those connections are, but City of Raleigh's reviewing the.
The reason I asked Churchill, when it was put in, I worked with contractors to put in, we run the water line from Hard Road all the way down to Old Basin, side of Churchill. The sewer, the only way you can tie into was down at Mingo Creek at the railroad track, that's the only place you got to tie into it. There ain't no sewer down Old Basin Road.
We're still
Why
taking.
You have two choices, you gotta put a pump station, go across the Old Basin, into the development you want to tie onto, or Churchill. But there ain't no other sewer way you can get in, 'cause we gotta run it all the way from the railroad track.
Yes, sir. We're working with, the engineer at UDP is not here for that, but we got a few different routes we're analyzing with City of Raleigh. The City of Raleigh is certainly aware of that, and it's the same point on the phasing, we're just not, I mean, we can't build this neighborhood without sewer, we know that, but we're committed to the infrastructure upgrades for Knightdale, and this project is bringing a lot of infrastructure to the area, and I know not everybody here might not want that, but these are some big infrastructure projects bringing some good jobs. I know you said you worked for that contractor. This is gonna be a cool project for a contractor to come in and build. I mean, we're excited about some of these solutions. Karen, you mentioned you had a question as well?
Yeah, I have them. What impacts should the surrounding neighborhoods expect, and how will those be mitigated?
Can you elaborate a little bit on impact?
So for example, there's a number of projects where there's water runoff into surrounding neighborhoods, or there's mud coming from the construction site. What, do you have a neighborhood liaison? How is that dealt with?
So if you have any, I can give you my card after the meeting and I can put you in contact with our regional stormwater compliance officer.
I'm just asking, no, just in general.
Yes, ma'am. So-
There's gonna be impact on anyone around, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
traffic and dirt and dust and noise and runoff, et cetera. How does D.R. Horton deal with surrounding neighborhoods as far as
Like during
trying to
construction.
mitigate?
Who do
Say
you
what?
Like during
construction?
construction.
Yeah,
Who do you
yeah.
contact?
Yes.
I can certainly take that. So let me break that into two answers, right? So for the design phase and then during the construction. So I'm gonna take the construction part first. So if you go around to any of our D.R. Horton construction sites, you'll see the signage, and we're proud of these sites, and we're advertising these 2 meetings. There's gonna be signs all over identifying it's D.R. Horton site. You're gonna see the name of the, that's not my department, so if I misspeak on this, I'd love to follow up with you after. But there's the name for the stormwater review, and the stormwater reviewer, we have a third-party agency come review the sites to make sure we stay in compliance. But the compliance that we're held to, right now we're in rezoning and site plan, but we'll have construction drawings, and those plans will be submitted to, I believe Knightdale's the erosion control agency that we submit to. It just changed from Wake County, but I mean, we have to maintain compliance with NCDEQ and the state regulations. And what they do overall, like, I guess the way I try to remember it is, you've got the pre-development runoff. So right now, like when this site rains, we can't exceed the pre-development runoff.
That's right.
Or stop me if I'm
Understand.
saying.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean,
Worse.
yeah, in terms of stormwater and erosion control,
I think
yeah,
your-
that'll all be
I think your
monitored, it's
question-
regulated. I think her question was different though, I think it was, Or like if there are any issues
Who do we
Thank you.
contact?
during
Who do I
construction,
So if you,
who at D.R. Horton, who's like the community outreach person?
so
Thank
the development manager, there'll be a third-party agency, and that number will be on the sign at the side at the time of development.
Yeah.
I can give you some contacts now, but like, we've got.
We got a ways to go.
We have a ways to go, I don't think we need that.
And now,
There will be someone, it's just depending on who it is and what time this construction starts, that's when they know, but just reach out to Reese and he'll let you know who that person is when construction starts, how about that?
Can
Go ahead. No,
one more
finish.
thing that, so I know most of y'all live on the north side of the site, I believe. I know there's some to the west, but if you live on the north side of the site, for the most part, this site drains to the south.
Mhm.
So it'll be the runoff from the other houses coming onto our site, and so to that
Control
point.
and treat it.
Yeah, so for that answer, if you live to the north, for the most part, the stormwater's running to the south of the site. You see for the creeks and the ponds. So that, just to kind of talk to that.
I understand. And last time, I asked you about,
So,
sorry,
You know, we're at the south,
yes, ma'am, and there's.
on Weston.
And that's
sorry.
where we treat, yeah, that's what I was talking about, treating and, controlling
So,
that,
so
yeah.
you can see on the side, we have some stormwater control measures. Don't worry, and I can follow up with you on that later, but you should not receive any more runoff coming to yours. It won't be a problem. You can see from the stormwater, and I can carry this back if you wanna see it a little closer, but do you want me to?
I think there are 7 stormwater control measures on the project.
And I have one other question, Reese, when we talked in the past about the sewer, you had said the sewer was gonna run under 87 old, Clifton. Is that still the plan?
That's one of the options.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the other option?
So until we get to see, nothing's changed since we talked. Until we get that construction drawing plan approved with City of Raleigh, let me back up, Karen, I know you got another question, let me answer this one first.
Mhm.
So City of Raleigh, we got a few different options for the site. City of Raleigh has this metric where City of Raleigh wants it to be gravity sewer. Because a gravity sewer is obviously less maintenance than a pump station. So option A is to do like gravity boring underneath 87, so there's no pump station on the site. But obviously, like everybody's got a plan B. Plan B is to have a pump station down here and outflow and go a different direction. But we've met with City of Raleigh, we've done the analysis. It's the full intent for it to be the gravity. But until we get to the construction drawing design, we just can't give 100% commitment to that, because we gotta get it approved. But nothing's changed since we've met.
Okay, so no pump station.
I can say 99% no pump station, but that 1%, I get struck by lightning, you know what I'm saying?
Unlikely,
Okay,
that's
there
not what
again,
City
is there
Raleigh
gonna be a
wants.
smell with this?
Man,
No.
same, I would buy that house right beside, same thing I told
Yeah,
the
you won't even know,
cops.
you won't even know the
You
pump
guys-
station, you don't even see it.
Yeah, you won't see it, there's odor control requirement. The engineer with UDP is not here tonight to speak to those specifics, cause that's down the road, but like, City of Raleigh's got requirements for those pump stations, and think about it like this too. Our houses are gonna be closer to that pump station than the neighbors are. It is like, we can't have this thing stinking if we're gonna be selling houses.
There are pump stations all over the place, you drive by them all the
Yeah.
time, you don't even see them. There's like not really even a structure.
But again, that's not the
And that-
likely scenario.
and that's-
Yeah, we don't wanna do that.
Yeah, that's low likelihood. I'm sure, we're being transparent in all we're doing here. It's an option. I sleep well at night knowing I'm being honest with everybody.
You're gonna have to bore under 87?
That's the game plan.
What do you say?
24, 36,
I think it's 48.
48.
48.
Oh, no, it's not 14, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, 48 inch. But guys, again, see, these aren't designed, but we're
I'm just asking for
we're,
curiosity.
we're budgeting for 48-inch bore underneath there.
It's gonna be interesting when you get rock under 87.
Guys,
Yep.
we're excited to that point. To the sewer,
That's-
this is an
That's what you
exciting.
gotta do to bring utilities to the
Yeah.
site.
And keep in mind, I mean, that's not bringing utilities just to the site, that's bringing utilities to this entire area.
Yeah. Karen, you had another question?
I'm sorry, one more question. We spoke last time about the price point.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that D.R. Horton has kind of like different series, you know, like Express Series and different series. What is your plan for these homes, and what is I know you can't give me a guaranteed price point, I understand that, but a roundabout, you can give an estimate.
So I believe Cameron spoke last time, so keep in mind with this, I report to Cameron, I think Cameron last time said like upper 2s to 6. Answer hasn't changed since Cameron gave it, I mean, but they keep in mind,
But
that's.
the market is changing really quick, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And this, first home's not being sold till 2026, build out 2031.
They aren't going down in price.
Yeah, they're not going down in price,
Look-
that's for sure.
Look back 2 to 3 years ago, I mean, this market fluctuations
So I guess my question is is this a mix of the express series and the other types, or?
So as
It-
far, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, okay.
So as far as like the product series yet,
Mhm.
I don't know that yet. Well, I mean, right now we're committing to like the, you can check the architectural conditions, like, and no matter what the series is, it'll be, or the product level, where we've got our architectural conditions, we're not varying from anything in the PUD. I mean, we're excited about these homes.
They have, Knightdale typically requires for new residential development, pretty high standard for
Yeah.
architectural commitments. And so we'd have to stick to that, but can we stand here and say this is exactly the housing like
Right, no, I
product that's
understand
gonna go on
that.
each
No, I
lot?
wouldn't hold you to it,
Yeah.
but there has to be
Yeah, I
an
mean,
idea.
based on those architectural conditions, it kind of promotes it to be some of the nicer products.
I would love to live in any of these houses.
Okay. And again, the idea is to have, different price points because you've got the different housing types and that's what the town wants and encourages with new neighborhoods. You don't have all just one housing type, one price point. And so, you know, that's why the mix and, you know, why they want the duplexes and the triplexes and the quads and, single family detached and different lot sizes and things like that.
I believe we had a question over here. We'll come back to you, Karen, to get another one.
Bruce, I have a question. The statement was made that there would be 3 units per acre.
A little bit less than 3.
Does that mean that on an acre you could put 3 quadruplexes?
So,
No.
Yeah, no, so that's like the whole
Yeah.
That'd be 4
acreage of the
units.
site is like 172 acres. And so, based on the density, which is, you know, 500 homes, based on the gross acreage, it's a little, 2.91 units an acre. So, again, it's more compact in here and keeping all of this open where the streams are, where the pond is. The recreational open space areas count as, you know, that doesn't count towards your residential density, right?
So you're using the riparian buffers in that average?
more than just.
It's the whole site,
And-
yeah.
And Lexi and Brian can speak to the plan more, but think about this from an environmental conservation perspective, it's a whole lot better to have those I mean, we've got like close to, it's not exactly 40, but there's close to 40 acres of tree preservation, open space on this site. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot of public trails on this. You're smiling at me, Seth, but like, it's.
Oh, well, I mean, you just know why I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Because I like it.
Yeah.
And we both know we can't use shot rock to fill in riparian buffers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, since you brought up the trees, I think a lot of us are seeing a lot of the things that are going on in Knightdale right now. They're knocking everything down they can possibly get their hands on. So is that your plan? Is your plan to knock everything down and then just plant some more trees?
No, those would be preserved trees.
Yeah, no, ma'am, absolutely. So, yeah, so there's the areas, the 40, well, there's 20 acres, I believe, in
That's
Galveston.
one.
Don't, I'm on camera here, so I'm trying
Brian,
Yeah.
plans,
Yeah.
Well, hey, the boss is over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the streams are right here, the trees around them are gonna be preserved
Yeah.
trees, right here, all these, and you can come up and take a closer look at it.
But all around the houses, it would be new trees, it would not be
Yeah,
existing trees.
landscaping.
Yeah, typically.
Probably, yeah.
That big pond.
And I think a lot of those areas are already cleared
Y'all
for
gonna say
their own
that
farm fields.
What was that?
On the Williamson Farm and the postal road, towards, 87, it's a great, about 3 or 4 acre pond in there.
It's a beautiful pond. That's the
That's the
plan.
one you gonna save and have all the grass.
That's the plan we're gonna save. With all this, we're not that far along in the I mean, that's the intent, to save the pond. It's beautiful, beautiful pond. I mean, we've got in our plan to have these houses backing up to it. I'd much rather have a house backing up to a pond than not. Like, it's a benefit for us to keep the pond.
Is it natural or man-made?
When y'all go,
I get distracted by the question.
y'all gonna burn or you gonna have, the people gonna have to grind it, going in there, gonna do the construction?
I can't, are we burning? So, we're gonna stick to like, Seth, can I phone the crap, can you burn in Knightdale? I don't wanna.
If you're 250 feet from a road, 500 feet from an occupied dwelling, legally, yes.
As long as you're 1,000 feet from a road, you can burn, but if you're under 1,000 feet, you can't burn to it.
I have I'd have to call our development manager for that, I'm,
Well, I've been told for that.
we're not.
Thank you for the heads up.
Reason I know you see them planes, them small planes flying around, you think it's somebody else, instead of our control guy, and you don't think you won't find it, you'll find it.
We don't wanna.
Wow.
It don't make no difference.
I'll say-
It's a thousand feet from.
I would say there's probably not any plans to burn at this time,
Yeah.
but thank you for the heads up.
You got another question, man? Sorry,
You have any other questions?
I just want to clarify one thing, I think we're like kind of quadplexes and duplex stuff, so generally what those really are, they're townhomes, right? So the duplexes is not like something other than just like 2 end unit townhomes, which would be like the nicer units of a townhome. I just want to clarify, and quadplexes would be like 4 townhomes.
What kind of buffer you gonna have all the way around the perimeter? You gonna have a fence or what?
Lexi and
Landscape buffer.
I think it varies on some of the sides.
It
right?
varies, so along I-87, it's 50 feet, and there's a berm there, and then around the rest is 20, but we're looking to maintain all those trees in the buffer. Whatever we can save in that buffer, we're gonna not touch.
You know, I'm talking about from my property line to your property, you gonna start to what kind of buffer you gonna have from one property line to the other? You gonna be, you just all the rest of it over there.
Where's your property at? Where on the site?
On the old face, the last one on Shady Circle,
On what circle? Oh, Shady Acres?
no Shady Circle. Facing the states.
Oh, so, yeah, so if
Shady Acres.
it's right here, Lexi, that'd be 20 feet, right?
Yeah.
So there'd be a 20
The
feet,
road's going right through Trey's house.
so,
Are you
So-
over
You talking about the stub that's being left
the
there?
Stubb Street
Yeah, that's dictated to us by the town and future growth plans and all that kind of stuff.
But it's a field, it's 5 acres, it's a field right behind. The other side of it is all wood.
I wanna clarify, cause this came up I met with the Cobbs on this specifically, we can't touch your land on this. We've got, the Knightdale requires us to have a stub road, but we are not building that road off our property. I mean,
Yeah, the road, the buffer will all be on this site.
Yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
but how far off your property line on the side, if you're gonna be up against the other people's property, boy, I'm getting that.
So
how far away is the stub from?
Yeah, how
the-
close-
Yeah, a minimum of 20 in a couple of those locations, and it's larger in other places.
Hey, my property here, all y'all, my property here about that way, y'all.
To the building, or?
Is that from here
Or
to
you
there?
just mean to?
feet
But the property line? Building,
So,
The edge of the
so
lot.
the property line that would separate, say, your property and this,
Yeah.
from there would be a minimum of 20 feet of landscape buffer, plus,
Somebody's back.
somebody's backyard and the building's at least 25 feet beyond that at least. So the closest it would be is like 50, 60 feet to a building. Yeah, the closest, and that's
Landscape.
probably only in like a few spots. Most of it's gonna be large, you can kind of see, there's a lot of green
Either
space up there,
landscape
that'll
or
probably be
trees.
landscaped or be lawn or that kind of thing. But the minimum is, the buffer is just the landscaped densified buffer. Yes, and that's the minimum.
Karen, did you have another question?
I did not.
Seth?
I'll ask you later.
Guys,
We got about 10 more minutes if anybody has, additional questions.
I mean,
For the
I
group,
think this
anything?
is a better plan than what some of the other stuff
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
wrote up.
we got a great engineer on it.
And where'd the name come
Different
from?
engineer.
We
What?
worked hard on it.
The name?
Linden Oaks,
Uh-huh,
you said where'd it come from?
uh-huh.
So one of the original engineers on it, his name was Linden. Our sales and marketing staff loved the name. And I say this as a joke. I was, never mind. So
Oh, come on, you
It's hard to get our names approved from our marketing department. So if the marketing department likes a name, we roll with it. Are there any other name, did y'all not like the name?
I was just interested to know who.
I like it, we just didn't want Linda's head to get too big.
There's a Johnson, there's a Johnson.
Yeah, so there's some beautiful oak trees. Linden was. in
The
one-
engineer's name?
It's also a tree name.
Yeah.
It is a tree.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe that sounds better, we like that, that's good.
Yeah. I wanna circle back to the sewer though. I wasn't trying, It is the intent to have gravity going this out. Nothing's changed from our first conversation.
I understand.
We got.
Takes a long time to get stuff approved through Raleigh, trust me.
We brought cookies and water this time. Can please eat up the cookies.
I have one of each. I wanted to get up closer and look.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come on up and look
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
it, come
Yeah.
talk to us, and please sign in if you did not.
We're gonna need to make it, and also, anytime we take on a project like that, we look for, unfortunately, I'm sure you're gonna fold that.
So where are you living?
Yeah.
Where do y'all live in this subdivision up on the other side of the Maple Street?
So Lyndon Johnson,
Okay.
I like Lyndon Johnson.
That's in the,
Well,
that's
that's
in the
not even
county right now.
how the engineer worked, that's not how he spells, that's not, he always spells his name, he just like Lynn.
Yeah.